Another quick update, I also drilled a hole in the lower saucer, as you can see, and epoxied it in place, and I've had this thing in an angle holding so that the brass tube is perpendicular to the hull and nice and straight. And I'll leave it overnight, although it's 5-minute epoxy. I'll leave it overnight. I've done the same technique with a sleeve, brass tube sleeve, which will rotate the smaller brass tube inside the larger one, and a little tab cut out inside so that the tube won't slide through the top and out. That will provide my access to all the wiring to the base. I've also light blocked the nacelles, as you can see, and I've painted them white on the inside. Obviously they need to be sanded on the outside to get the excess primer off of them. So things are coming right along, guys. Finally making some real progress with some of the more complicated lighting. Okay, more to come. Hey guys, Armando here with another update on my Akira. And I've done a few things over the past couple of days, and I wanted to show you what I've done. First thing I'll show you is I modified the hull color slightly. I mixed up a new batch, which actually came out slightly clearer, and I liked it, so I went ahead and just applied it to the rest of the hull, and I'm liking it even better. It's just a very slightly lighter color, the same variation that I described earlier. I've got the photon and quantum torpedo assembly all glued in place, and it is drying, and as soon as it's dry I'll retouch whatever edges need to be retouched, and I'll call that done and ready to be glued to the rest of the parts. I went ahead and primered and painted the nacelles and pylons, and I am looking at how I'm going to light them, how best to light them. And I've been working on the problem of the beacons and nav lights in the rear of the support boom and how best to achieve them. Now, what I did for the bridge was I used a 1mm fiber and mushroomed it, a little nubbin, and that worked wonderfully well because 1mm fiber is fairly thick, so I got good light towards the sides. But I found out that when you try and use the next size down, 0.75, which is what fits in here, no amount of mushrooming will give you the same all-around lighting that you're looking for, basically being able to view it from the side and seeing the light. So I started searching and searching on the net, and I found some interesting stuff. Actually, there's this guy's fiber optic light diffuser. I highly recommend you guys check it out. It's actually, it doesn't apply to my problem, but it's an interesting idea. Using hot glue and fiber optic, you can actually place it on the fiber optic and bend it, disrupting it, and then you cool it down and you make basically a chain of lit nubbins, as it were, which is interesting. But it did get my mind thinking about disrupting fiber optic. Now, I looked through my stash of leftover parts from my NX01, and I noticed that the beacon parts have these little rings on the sides, and when you shine light to them, the light tends to shine on the top where the rings are, which means that if you disrupt the plastic towards the sides, the light will shine. This is basically the same principle as a fiber optic. It's a plastic tube, and that, in combination with the video over here, got me to thinking, well, what happens if I if I sand just the tip of the fiber optic, what's that going to do to the fiber optic itself? So I took a piece of fiber optic, 0.75, and I just, using a file, I filed the tip. As you can see there, hopefully, if this thing will focus. Well, pull back a little bit. Basically, I just took the sides there and I filed around it with the file, roughing up the tip. And when you apply light to it, let's see if I can show you. Okay, well, why don't we do it this way then? Voila! The light now shines towards the sides, which is exactly what I was looking for. I actually feel kind of stupid. I'm sure someone knows about this out there on the net. This has got to be a common technique, but I hadn't figured it out. But I should have known, if you take fiber optic and you disrupt it, the light's going to come out the sides. So basically what I'm going to do is I'm going to file a round tip on each of these things, these fiber optic pieces, and cut out a nubbin and put it in here, and that'll be my my lid tip, as it were. I have decided that I am going to use a flashing strobe for the front, an always on in the middle, and an always on green or red beacon in the back. Those are going to be my lights here. For the nacelles, which, as you can see, this is the starboard nacelle, the right one. They come with their own pre-molded places where you can put lights. What I'm going to do is I'm going to put a flashing nav light in the back and an always on beacon in the front, and those will be my lights. On the inside, I'm going to use a double density white strip of light to illuminate it, because the flux chiller grill clear resin part that comes in the upgrade kit is colored blue. And there's also a piece here that's blue, and then for the Bassard collector, I've got the plasma effect from the Enterprise e-board that Ralph sells, and I will be using that and attempting to get that swarming, pulsating effect that looks so cool. So that'll be what I'll be working on as soon as I get these little nubbins in place and attach either LEDs or SMDs to them to appropriately light them. I'll have the lighting set here. Oh, I also need to light the saucer where the front shuttle hangar bay door is visible, and for that I'm going to use 3 SMDs. So things are coming along, and as soon as I get these nacelles completed and figure out how to get all the wiring out, which may involve more trenching like I did with the other part, although we'll see, then I might actually be ready to start putting these parts together. Oh, here's the rod in place finally. I had to redo it because it was kind of loose the first time around, but I applied more 5-minute epoxy, and it feels pretty firm now. And this rotates the way it's supposed to, or at least it was rotating earlier. Anyway, I'll be back with another update when I've got more stuff done. Talk to you later. And here's my first beacon. This one will be the strobe, the flashing one. And it came out perfect. It's even appropriately hazed with the filing technique. As you can see, I hooked it up to a 5mm LED and put a shrink wrap to achieve light blocking. I'll paint the rest with the black enamel testers or tulip paint to get it completely blocked, because back here there's an impulse outlet that needs to be lit. But I love it. I love it. The filing technique works. I rounded the tip slightly, as you can see, and it's to me anyway, it was an amazing discovery. I hope it helps you guys. Hello again everyone, Armando here with another update on my Akira. It's getting down to the wire now. It's September 24th, and this has been a complicated build, mainly because of all the stuff I wanted to put in it, but that's okay. Last night I completed the Starboard Nacelle, completed sanding, puttying, repainting, and attaching it to the body, to the support strut on the starboard side. And also, since the last video I hadn't shown you guys, I completed the lighting details, what we've been talking about with the little beacons and nav lights. And here's the wiring. As you can see, there's 3 LEDs attached to fiber optic, which provide the lighting for that, as well as an SMD that provides light for the impulse engine in the back here, which is a clear orange piece provided by the upgrade parts for the Akira. I frosted it with white on the inside to diffuse the hot spot, and I have attached the photon and quantum torpedo assembly onto both and put the wires in. This is glued and it's been bracketed since last night. Hopefully it'll be nice and solid. All the wiring has come through. Everything is masked off from the repainting, and I have worked on the seams and I've gotten them down to an appropriate faint line. I'm not sure that I'll work any more on it. Resin is a little bit more bulky at getting sanded than styrene, as I have found out, although it is sandable. I'm going to need to re-examine how I do this. I guess after sanding, when you get down to the resin, some more primering is necessary, as well as resanding before you paint. But still, the paint job's good. I'll experiment with that on this nacelle. This is the port nacelle, which I'll be working on tonight. These are some of the clear parts that come with the upgrade kit. This goes in here, and it will get frosted on the inside with white. This is the Bassard collector. I didn't do anything to it. I love the way the plasma effect looks through this, like this, so I'm going to leave it like that. That goes over there. As far as the lights, I haven't drilled the ones here yet, but on the other side, what I did was I took the tip of a mushroomed 1mm fiber optic fiber and cut it, and after drilling a hole there, I put it there. And with 1mm fiber, you don't need to do the technique I showed you guys with the filing on the previous video, because you get enough lighting to make it visible from the side, which is what you're trying to achieve. So I'll be doing that tonight, and I'll take some pictures and show you step by step so that you get an idea. The pre-wired wires are going to be used for the plasma Bassard effect, because that comes with 4 wires, so that's what this is going to be used for. I'll have to drill an additional hole and trench it, just like I did with this side, to bring in the additional wiring from, this is terrible, I can't show you guys very well. I brought in additional wiring for the beacon and the nav light, and that required additional trenching and another hole. Also the lighting for the flux chiller grills, which was all attached to the wiring. So I'll have to do the same here, and I'll show you guys, don't worry. I decided that what I'll do is I will make the nav light blinking and the beacon on the front always on, steady on. Okay, so here we go.
Zooms at home at the time, you know, but now he's got where he zooms. I've got the time, and you know, he's
Alright, I'm back and I'm doing a light test. I've done all the preliminary wiring and installation of lights in the port nacelle. The plasma Bussard effect, as you can see, is chugging away. I had to make a small partition there, as you can see, which I light blocked on this side with black primer and then white primer. I glued the lights through a hole in the center. This is the clear blue part that's provided with the upgrade kit. I will have to do some puttying and filling in of edges for light leaks. I'm using a 3 LED strip to light it, and this is the main light for the flux chiller grill, which will sit in here. Let's see, I've frosted it white on the inside, as you can see. This will sit here. I will be doing that with some hot glue, and then once it's installed, nice blue uniform color. The front beacon is all wired up to the LED strip, so it all goes on the same, and this will be, obviously it's steady on right now, but this will be the blinking navigator, red for the port nacelle. It'll be hooked up to Ralph's board when the time comes and it gets down there. Now the next step will be to trim these wires, which are from the plasma Bussard collector effect, and they will be hooked up to the pre-wired pylon, which goes right through. Is that right? No, it's the other way. Yeah, like that. Okay, I'll glue that in place. I will also drill a small hole somewhere around here and put it in a trench, which I will drill a hole through to have the wires emerge through here. The extra wires that I need, obviously, which are the wire for the nav light and the wires for all the lighting. So I'm getting close to completing this, at least the wiring and lighting. And once I'm done with that drilling and trenching, then comes the puttying and sanding. Oh joy. Anyway, it's important because this is one of the last pieces of major lighting and wiring that I'm going to have to do. I still have to work on the impulse pieces. These are clear orange pieces that came with the upgrade kit as well, and they go on the back of the saucer. I've been light blocking them with black primer, and I'm going to paint them with a darker version of the hull color. I've masked off the part that I want lit, which will be orange, and I'm going to put some SMDs on the inside to light right through it. So hopefully that'll look pretty cool. And then once that's done, it's just a question of putting it together, gluing everything together and threading the wires through the rod. Then after I have all that done, the next step will be microcrystal clear for all the windows, so that you can't see the LEDs or anything through them. And then once that's done and that is dried, I will apply the glossy coat onto the hull and begin the process of the Aztec decals, for which I still have to find instructions because they're not provided. I still don't know where those things are supposed to go, but I'll find out. Anyway, so far so good. See you later. Alright, Armando back here with another update on the Akira. Let's get right to it and see what we've done so far. This is the port nacelle, and I've pretty much gotten everything wired up. This is a Bussard collector with the plasma Bussard effect from Ralph's board, the partition that I created with a hole in the middle to put that thing through, all CA glued in, the accessory flux chiller grill, whatchamacallit, also glued in place, the white, cool white SMD 805 glued in place, and tulip paint in place with a nubbin of mushroomed fiber optic glued with microcrystal clear. The blue LED strips to provide the light for the flux chiller grills, all wired up with the cool white SMD. The red SMD, again, with a mushroom fiber optic tip and tulip paint. That one's going to be a blinking one, it's a nav. All wired up. The plasma Bussard wires are trimmed and ready to be soldered together to exit out this way, and the additional hole entrenching that I did for all the other wiring for the lighting, LED strips, the always on beacon, all those are wired up, and I drilled a hole through, which I will show you right there. It's a hole in the pylon itself, which I carried through here, exited through there, and then trenched. As you can see, I just trenched that with the tip of the same bit, and then I drilled a hole through here and out here. So the wire will merge through there and it'll be perfect. And I just realized I need to take these off and put them back on. So now I'll glue this on. I will finish threading all this. I will putty this to hide the trench, and I will splice these in place here and shrink wrap them to protect them and insulate them, and that should have me ready to seal up this nacelle and glue it onto the corresponding portion of the ship. That would complete the rear assembly of most of the ship, and then comes the complicated threading of the wire to the saucer and down the rod. So this is coming right along. More to come soon. See you later.